Hey guys, it's Alex. Welcome back to CollectioNeo and statueforum. I just wanted to do a quick review here of this little clone trooper statue from gentlegiant. This is a clone trooper 1/6 scale deluxe. I only picked this up last week. It came in yesterday. I used to have quite a decent sized premium format Star Wars collection, and then obviously as other licenses were announced and things like that, Star Wars had to go, but I kind of wanted a little bit of Star Wars back in my life, so I decided, I'll pick up a few 1/6 pieces, because there's a lot of cool 1/6 stuff out there from Kota Bakir. They're technically 1/7, but they kind of fit in with 1/6, and then obviously Gentlegiant do a shit ton. And this guy was pretty cheap. I paid about 150 quid for him. And I think it was totally worth it. This is this is the deluxe version, and it's deluxe because it comes with 10 arms. It's a hell of a lot of swap out, guys. So we're going to go through these, but it's average, and as you can see, it's a clone trooper. Because when it comes to Star Wars, I am a Clone Wars, Knights of the Republic kind of guy. I like all the films, of course, but even the prequels, But I was never a massive Star Wars kid, based on the original 3 films. I really got into Star Wars with Knights of the Republic on Xbox, and then Clone Wars, more bit of the prequels, but mostly through Clone Wars comics and the TV show. So I wanted a clone trooper, and I've bought several clone troopers at this point, but I thought I'd do a quick review of this one because there doesn't seem to be much information about him. Just show you on this little card that we got with the statue here from Gentlegiant. 399 and 475. Now 475 is quite a low edition size for a Star Wars piece from Gentlegiant. A lot of them are in the thousands. Obviously, clone troopers not as popular as stormtroopers, which I think is blasphemy. But obviously prequels aren't as loved. But I think there's a lot of love for the Clone Wars TV show, which is coming back next year, thank God. And Star Wars is looking a little bit better with things like The Mandalorian coming out. And hopefully once we get past this new trilogy, we can start doing Star Wars properly. Or at least how I think Star Wars should be done. As you can see, guys, we've got him set up at the minute with his helmeted head on. He does come up with a switch out head, which I'll show you in a minute. And we've got this. This is probably the pose that I'm going to keep him in. As you can see, you got the long rifle there, just being carried quite casually, and then in his left arm, we've got just the blaster pointing upwards. It's just a really simple, nice looking pose. But obviously, like I say, we do get a lot of options, which we'll go over in a second. The base is your classic Gentlegiant base, which is just a matte finish with a reflective surface. If you look at most Gentlegiant statues, that's what they've got. Although I've seen a couple, like Sand Trooper, have actually got an environmental base instead of the matte black. And of course, some of them are on a square base or rectangular base rather than a circular base. But this guy's on a circular base. Now, unfortunately, I did pick this up brand new, like I said, but unfortunately, I don't know if you can see it from here, but the helmet has just got a slight tinge of yellowness to it. It's really not too bad, but as you can see, it's definitely a different colour than the army. I actually got quite a decent refund on this guy. It was a brand new statue, so it was really good of the guys on eBay to give me a refund. But obviously, these have sat around for a while, and I don't know what's happened, whether it's the paint or the actual resin, but obviously it is common in places to get a slightly different colour, especially when it's on white. It's not too bad, and obviously it's a lot more prominent on camera than it is in hand. Me sitting here and looking at him, I can't really tell. You can really see it more on camera, but where you can tell is on this extra arm, where this one has gone really yellow. Really yellow. Luckily, this isn't an arm I will be using, and we'll get to that in a second. What we're going to do first off, guys, is get through some of these switch outs for you. First thing I'm going to do is take off the head, and we have an unmasked head, which isn't bad. It's not terrible. I've got a little chip on it here, which I'm just going to touch up with a bit of black or paint pen. The lightness isn't too bad, obviously based on Jango Fett, as all clone troopers are. But it's not bad lightness, but it's just something I'll never display. It's like a Predator in that case. I like my Predator's mast, and I like my clone trooper's mast. So what we can do is we can take this arm out. And we can put this arm in. So you get a really, really casual pose there. Just casual. Carrying the rifle, carrying the helmet. Like I say, you can really see how yellow that helmet's gone. Like I say, I won't be using the unmasked portrait whatsoever. And then if you don't fancy that one, we can take this one out. I'll just pop this arm back in because this is really the only option. And then we can take this one out. And we can put this one in. Now we've got him, the helmet under the arms, the blaster ready. Now, we have got another option for that, which we'll get into in a minute. I was going to say that's the only option for his left arm, really, with holding the helmet. But we can actually do a few other things. Thinking about it. So what we can do is take this out, and what we get is this hand here, which looks kind of odd on its own. But what we can do is you get a rifle, which has actually got, if my camera decides to focus, we've got a peg on the end here. We've actually got a little hole in the base. If I can find it, like that, pegs in, lift the hand up, the rifle goes underneath, so you can have him standing, holding the rifle. Now obviously guys, you can't see it super well on my black background, which I do apologise for. Hopefully you can just make that out. It's kind of like a unique pose, and I think we can then switch that out. That's pretty much it. I mean, ridiculously, you can have helmeted head on with that head and that head. A three-headed clone trooper. But let's take that out. Put that head back in, and then obviously we can drop something like that in. I don't think that works kind of as much. A few of the poses don't quite work. I think that one works basically best with either that or that hand looks pretty good. But I think it's a bit weird having two large rifles. I think this arm looks best unmasked with the helmet under the arm. Personally, let's take that out. Let's take the gun out. Let's see that, guys. That's just on a peg. Pull that out. So as you see, we've got smaller rifles for each arm, so let's put them in so we can do a bit of dual wielding, which looks pretty cool. Like so. I am very, very tempted, I've got to say, to pick up another one because, there's quite a few poses here I do like. And then these two poses are very, very, very similar. Very similar. So we've got this one. Let me just try and find the right arm for this one. That's not it. That one's it. So this is very close to the body. And then that just sits in, and then the hand should just hold it. Like so. And that's a very close to the body, almost relaxed stance with the larger rifle. But then what you also get is this version. So kind of a bit higher up, the rifle pointing out. But my problem is with this version is it's kind of the same thing because he's not looking where he's aiming, so it's not shooting pose. It's just the same sort of pose but away from the body. They both look great. I think the close to the body one looks better, as if he's walking through, because of the way the head is, the way the head's facing. But it just seems a little redundant putting both in for me. But, hey, Like I say, the statue is pretty cheap. So, but I do think I'll probably end up picking another one up. Because, hey, you can't have enough clone troopers. But for me, for now, I really like that pose. That's the one for me, I think. I think this holding the rifle's kind of a bit unique like that. Although the Koto, if you've seen the Koto Bakia Artifacts 501st clone trooper, he's holding the big rifle in the same way. But I do adore clone troopers. Now maybe this one hasn't sold so well because it's just a clone trooper, a basic bitch one. Obviously, you get painted up captains and commanders, and obviously people like Rex and Cody and Neo and all these other commanders look a lot cooler. But I think for a 1/6 basic clone trooper, I mean, this gives you everything really. I mean, you've got so many options and so many ways to display. I think it's pretty great, to be honest. Like I say, I paid about 150 quid for him, which is very little for a 1/6, and very little for a 1/6 with 10 arms and 2 heads. Like I say, guys, I probably will maybe review a few other bits. I might do a block review for all the Koto stuff that I've picked up, because I do really like a lot of the old Koto stuff. Some of the face sculpts, guys, on the Jedis and things like that aren't great, but they're troopers, they're a scout trooper, they're snow trooper, they're storm trooper, they're all the clone troopers they did, Commander Bly, Commander Cody. There's some really good stuff out there, and they did stuff that wasn't really touched upon by other companies, like they did Mace Windu and Commander Bly, which obviously Gentlegiant have done in bus form, but not as full statues. And they can be picked up for anywhere between 20 and 40, 50 pound. I mean, they are really good. I mean, they're vinyl, they're PVC, but like I say, that's not an issue on this on my channel. It's really not. We don't go off weight. We go off looks, as any statue should be judged on, in my opinion. But there you go, guys. That's just a little quick review. I don't think I've been going too long. 13 minutes nearly. Of a little clone trooper with a lot of arms. I mean, all the options are great, but at the end of the day, you can only display, 2 arms. That's the thing. I think the 2 large rifle arms, these ones, where it's literally against his chest or slightly away from his chest, I think that could have been dropped and something extra could have been put in. I don't know, something for the base, a droid arm, things like that. Just first set the base off a little bit. Or maybe even, an arm holding a droid head, which I know Koto did with their Commander Cody. But for the money, if you find it for under $200, I think it's a bit of a bargain. And if anything else, you'll never have a statue with this many swap outs, I don't think. Maybe some XM stuff, but yeah, I'm happy with it, I really am. And like I say, once I get a few more bits in, I'll do a couple of reviews on some other bits, and then show you where the collection's at some point. So there you go, guys. Just like I say, quick review of the 1/6 Clone Trooper Deluxe from Gentlegiant. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Just watch out for the yellowing. And that's it, guys. Next review coming up very soon. Quite a few reviews coming up very soon, actually. About 4 or 5 new pieces coming in. And stick around on statueforum for the down and select stuff and the competition to win a couple of down and select statues. There you go, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.